Shalom, Havarim. Mishpacha. Hope everyone is having a great day. Today is Tuesday, June 26th. In the morning, it's a beautiful day over here in Oakland. I wanted to tell you guys something. I tried blending a new little drink this morning. I'm still gonna have my coffee, but I was trying something new. Anyway, in here with my bullet that I have at home, I put coffee, the ground coffee, a banana, strawberries, some nutmeg. What else did I put in here? Ginger. And oats. Some oats. Yeah, so we'll see. Just trying something different. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Not that it means anything, but I think the best thing we can do for our bodies nowadays, one of the best things, is drink our food, you know? But yeah, so that's my breakfast. I'll take my vitamins, and then I'll take a 10-minute walk and maybe a couple of hours around my building. But anyway, you guys, let's talk about separation this morning. You know, I think, I can't remember her name, so it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not going to say the sister's name because I don't want her to call me out because, you know, I'm always getting people's names wrong. So, but we were going back and forth on a very pleasant comment that she left yesterday about being an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and I had told her that, you know, throughout my whole life, from what I can recall, I was always separated. I guess some people would say I would be the black sheep of my family. I don't really consider it the black sheep because I did things with my family. My family loved me, but I always felt a little separated, if that makes sense. And then, hold on one second. Okay. And then when I became a teenager, when I left home, my parents, who were Jehovah's Witnesses at the time, they just had completely washed their hands of me. And when I say my parents, I mean my biological mother, my mom, the one I always tell you guys about, mama said this, mama said that, and my stepfather. I left their home, and I was on my own for a while, but I wanted to go back to school. So I had the police contact my biological father in Texas. And he was like, yeah, send her down here. You know, I'll put her in school, make sure she's taken care of. Anyway, and I was well loved and everything at that point, after that point. But while I was living with my biological father, my mother and my stepfather, they didn't have anything to do with me. I rarely remember them calling to check to see how I was doing. I think I just remember once or twice. And this is from the time I was 16 to when I graduated high school at 18. For my prom, my mom didn't come see me. When I graduated high school, my mother didn't come see me. And then I always felt separated, as if they didn't love me because I made the choice to not be in that cult, in that religion, or in their home anymore. And there's many other factors that go with that too, but I just wanted to let you all know about that one. But it's a separation. So then shortly after that, the birth of my son, my mother, she didn't come to the hospital to be with me during that time either. And I felt really alone. My biological father was there. My stepmother was there. My aunt, I had aunts and cousins, and my little brothers came. But my mother and my stepfather, who basically raised me my whole life, they weren't there. And me and my mother, we talked about this years later, and she apologized and we got past it. However, I say all that to say that, Yahweh's eyes are always roaming for those who has a perfect heart on him. Even when we don't know that our heart is on him, he knows the end from the beginning, so he knows who's his. Now, Satan, Hashatan, is also always roaming the earth looking for those specific people that he can get to turn against Yahweh, to forget him in their separation. Now, I was a kid, but I've always believed. At that time, I was a kid. I didn't understand, but I always believed in Yahweh because he knows the end from the beginning. He always knew that I belonged to him. So there are many things during those times where I know his Gader HaKodesh, that hedge of protection, was around me. If you read the story of Job, when Yahweh was meeting with the divine council, and Hashatan came in, trying to muck up the place like he does, and Yahweh asked him, where have you been? And I'm paraphrasing, of course, here, but Hashatan said, well, I've been looking around the earth, trying to see basically who I can win to my team. and Yahweh was like, well, have you considered Job? Have you considered Vanessa? Have you considered sister so-and-so? Have you considered brother so-and-so? These are mine. And Hashatan said, well, how can I, when I know that you protect them? You have your Gader HaKodesh on them. How can I do that? Can you remove that? And and Yahweh said, yes, do what you will, just don't kill them. But they're mine. So regardless of what you do, trying to separate them from me, from my love, they're mine. And every time I read that story of Job, especially that part. I've even been told, in churches that my story is kind of like Job. And again, I'm not telling you all everything because we don't have that kind of time. But believe me, the separation, Hashatan, he knows. That story lets me know that when he went to Yahweh, I believe he already knew that Job was Yahweh's, that he had a perfect heart for him. And when I say perfect, not that he was a perfect man, but his heart was set on Yahweh. He put Yahweh first. The same with you, the same with me. If you're putting Yahweh first, the Ruach exudes that. Your walk, you walk in the name of your mighty one, which is Yahweh, your Elohim, our Elohim. So Hashatan, of course, he knows that. So he will do things to try to attack you, to separate you, to get you thinking that you have separated from Yahweh. But that is far from the truth. When my brother died, and mind you, I'm the third of my mother's children. But when my brother passed away, for some reason, well, I know what it is now, but at the time I didn't understand it. My family in Texas, and I'm in California. I'm in California at this time as a grown woman. I'm married with a child. I was young though. I was like 24. And my family in Texas, they called me. In other words, I was the first call they made, not my mother, not my older sister and her husband, but me. In the middle of the night. I'll never forget it, 3 o'clock in the morning. They called me to tell me that my brother had passed and to let my mother know. It was so much stress on me to have to tell my mom that her second to the eldest child had passed away. Again, a separation. Hashatan was trying to get me in a place where I felt like I was all alone. I had to do this by myself, but I didn't. I grabbed my Bible, and I was a churchgoer at that time. And I grabbed my Bible, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I have something to tell you. And it was the middle of the night, so of course she was scared. And I went over there and I told her, but that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, to watch my mother take the news from her baby girl that one of her children had passed. So then, cut to 6 years later, again, I was in a position to where I was the first person to know that my sister passed. Again, Hashatan trying to separate me or make me think that Yahweh had took his love from me and that I had to do it again alone. And it was very hard. And I let my mother know again that one of her other children had passed away. And my mother was so upset by that she said, why do people keep coming to you with this information, making you the heavy to give me this information? We didn't understand it. But now I understand again. Like I said, throughout my life, there are many times where Hashatan tried to get me to think that he was separating me and get me to think that Yahweh was separating his love from me. But it's such a lie, because he's a father of the lies, and it all starts in our mind. If he can get you to think that you are alone, that you are separated out, and there's no hope for you, then in his mind, he knows that he can make it, and he can go back and brag and but listen, once you are Yahweh's, because he knows who walks in his mighty name and who walks for him, Yahweh our Elohim, he knows. So he'll never let you down, and he will repay you tenfold. He's a restorer. I can't begin to express how much he's restored and given me back from what Hashatan took from me, what the locust took from me. You know, Yahweh restored it in a moment's time. It took Hashatan my whole life to try to do things to me, where I'm down and I don't have this, and I thought I had this, but now I don't have it. And Yahweh, in a moment of me calling out to him, my heart just being with him, and when I realized it and took up, my helmet of deliverance and truly believed and showed him, listen, you got this. You got it. I can't do it. My son can't do it. No one else can do it but you, Yahweh. And I'm going to walk in your name and love you and trust you. And he restored everything that Hashatan tried to take from me. And he can do it for you too. Don't ever think that, oh, I'm a believer, but this happens to me or that happens to me. Oh, I keep praying, but nothing's happening. Yahweh knows our heart way better than we can. Why? Because, like Brad Scott says, he's smarter than we are. So don't ever think that your prayers are falling on deaf ears. There's a scripture, I'll put it in the comment section. I believe it's in Isaiah. It might be in Jeremiah, where it says that he bends his ear to hear our prayers. To hear our prayers. Even when you think that he's not listening, he's listening. Even when you think that he's not paying attention or that he's not giving you the answers that you want, don't. He is on the scene. But he knows the curve around the bend. He knows when the river is going to go over the waterfall and when it's going to slowly go off into a lake. We don't know these things, but he does. But we don't have to know, because we trust in the name that we walk in, which is Yahweh, and he's going to make it happen. This is a day that our Abba, Yahweh Elohim, has made. Let us rejoice in Yahweh, Yeshua, the Ruach HaKodesh, and be glad in it. I love you all, and I hope this was an encouragement. And remember, our separation is not his separation. Don't let Hashatan take your mind. I think that's been the theme that he's been having me talk to you guys about for some weeks now, is the mind. It all starts in the mind. Remember that helmet of deliverance. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Shalom.